Moshe coming to you from Israel and the Galilee on a kind of cold day today. I think when I got up, it was still in the 40s or something. Anyway, we're looking at now is 56, high is 63. That's not so bad. Now they're talking about rain coming again on Thursday, 50% chance, and Friday, 55% chance. So, and then next week again, more rain. So I don't know what's going on. The rain's been to the weather people waiting to have Israel restore or come back from its rain shortage this winter, which is dramatically low. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen after the appearing. We're going to get the latter and the early rain at the same time. So there's a lot to cover today. One of the best things to talk about, because it's hilarious, is Hamas. It's not so hilarious either. Hamas told Trump that instead of evacuating the Gazans out of Gaza, he should evacuate the Israelis out of Israel and put them in Greenland and Alaska. Now, this is not something you want to do with Trump. Okay? Speaking of things you don't want to do with Trump, Iran has increased their production of nuclear materials in their strives to get a bomb 7 times more. They were already at an infuriating level to the nations in the IAEA, and now they upped it 7-fold more, 7 times more. So if you think this will infuriate Trump, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And we're going to cover Bible prophecy on Assyria, and we're going to break down what that really is, which countries it is, and it won't surprise you. It's the Middle Eastern countries. I researched it again, and that's what it is. It's not Asia or anything like that, okay? And when you read in the prophecies of old about Ephraim, there was a city in Israel that used to be called Ephraim, and the Muslims changed its name to something like Tail, and today it's inhabited by Christians of predominantly the Greek Orthodox persuasion of churchianity. So, but I don't see it as, a relevant thing for today right now. It's something that happened in the past, like in Isaiah 17. So we're going to go through some Bible prophecies on Assyria, which I'm sure is not going to come as a shocking surprise to you, but it does seem to include Turkey. And when we have the land covenant, or the land grant, or the land promises, they like to call it in Genesis 15, it says from the Euphrates to the Nile, and I believe it means to the left or the west of the Euphrates, which is probably 2/3 of Turkey. So we'll get into it today, but I'm going to also go into a discourse on what the 76,000 tons of weapons means. And yes, we did get a huge amount of those MK-44 2,000-pound bombs. They came in by air and by ship. But those are the raw data, and then we'll discuss the ramifications of what this means regarding Gaza and Lebanon and all of this. Okay, what I want to do now is jump into the live stream and make sure we got a live stream. And sound and picture, put my posts up while people are coming in, and we'll get started. This weapons transfer of 76,000 tons was the largest weapons transfer Israel ever got. I wear the sunglasses because there's a window. I'm talking into an iPad, and behind that is a big double window, and I get the glare. And the glasses block a lot of the glare, the UV, blue light, stuff like that. They're polarized. Yes, I see reality through them. Okay, I'm going to get my posts up real quick. I don't talk much when I do the posts. Of course, I make typos if I do. What happened? I just want to get my email up, and then we'll get going. Take a few more seconds. And we're giving people a chance to come in. That's a good thing. Okay, I got my posts up. And being a Bible-believing site, I'm going to start with some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, we got a few prayer requests. Let's get those. We have a prayer request for SH Sierra Hotel. SH Sierra Hotel. The prayer request is for shyness to be removed and to heal acne. This is for SH Sierra Hotel. Shyness to be removed and heal up acne. We have another prayer request for JB. Juliet Bravo. JB. Juliet Bravo. JB. We've been praying for healing for this person. Please keep it up. This person is rather ill for an extended period of time. An old-time subscriber. Okay, the prayer is to hear Jehovah very good, to hear whatever messages Jehovah might be conveying, to hear very good. Also to find a plastic breathing machine misplaced in the home. Also for JB to find a plastic breathing machine misplaced in the home. Okay. Let me delete these so we know they're done. All right. That was prayers with the breathing machine and to hear Jehovah roar for JB, Juliet Bravo, JB. Okay. There's now 14 hostages remaining to be released as part of phase 1 of the ceasefire agreement with Gaza. Of those 14, only 6 are alive. And of those, several have been there for a long time, years. They were there before October 7th, apparently. So that's going to be critical. I think what Netanyahu is going to do, he's already saying he wants these 6 hostages that are alive released earlier than scheduled. Okay? So Netanyahu's starting to gear up. Okay, I think the reason he went soft on the deadline at noon to give all the hostages back is the weapons from America were not here yet. They got here last night. They came on planes and barges, and they've already been transported to various Israeli military bases where they're secured. I don't think Israel wanted to mention that they showed up until they had them secured, which is smart. So Netanyahu says he's pushing for these 6 to be released early. 2 of them have been in captivity for over 10 years, while the other 4 of the 6 were from October 6th. I seriously doubt Hamas is going to just agree to it because Netanyahu says so. That ain't going to happen. Israel is touting all over the place, and correctly, the torture, psychological and physical, and starvation and denying of medical attention and all the other maltreatment of the hostages. And that's to build up the public opinion as best as Israel possibly could against these terrorists in Gaza. We did get a massive amount of these MK-44. I think it's an MK-44. These are the 2,000-pound bombs that can be used as bunker busters. I think there was supposed to get way over 1,000 of those, 1,700 or something. I don't know. It's a large number, and we got them. So they were offloaded last night onto dozens of trucks, and they were secured at various military bases in Israel. And I think this is what Netanyahu was waiting for, and in my opinion, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to get to be a bumpy ride. This is one of the reasons, I think, a serious reason Netanyahu didn't want to push with Trump, but now I think he's going to push. Now, I did not pick up anything on the Moab bombs, the 11,000-ton bombs. Were they in the shipment or not? Nobody's telling us. Could they possibly have made it into the shipment? Yes. How many are there? I don't know. Were they in the shipment or not in the shipment? Nobody's talking. So we don't know. It might be an additional shipment. We don't know. My guess, probably an additional shipment. All right, Netanyahu's denying the movement into Gaza of earth-moving equipment. That's to clear debris, bulldozers and things like that, right? And mobile homes. Now, they're not bringing in, 450,000 mobile homes. It's a very small amount. A mobile home in Israel is called a caravan. It's not a motorhome. It doesn't have a motor and a cab that you drive it with. You tow it. You know what I'm talking about now. And usually the ones you see in Israel are about 23, 26 feet. Although there are some that are bigger, like they can go up to 40 feet. The ones they get in Israel are rather nice when they come from Germany. I've seen them. They're pretty nice, but they're not like flashy like the American version. They're more subdued in their demeanor. They're not flashy and gaudy. They're just basic, more than basic. They're very practical, nice. You know, you could even almost call them luxurious. I would call them comfortable. They don't have the flash and the pizzazz, but they're very nice. Now, I don't know where these mobile homes came from. I have no idea. But Netanyahu's not letting them in. Now, let's talk about why. There might be 100 of them coming in, 50, I don't know. Yeah, it's no big amount. They're rather expensive. They're, $40,000, $50,000 for the small ones by the time you get them into Israel taxes. Now, I don't know who's giving them to Gaza. It ain't Israel. So what would happen to them if you put them in Gaza? All the Hamas mucky mucks would move in. Instead of living in a busted up building or a tent or something, they'd have a nice motorhome with a heater. You know, you power these things with propane gas. You put tanks over there. So with the propane, you could run your lights, your oven, your heater, your air conditioner, things like that. And of course, you're protected from the rain. You could be protected from the heat, snow, but they don't get snow in Gaza and stuff like that. So why the heck should we do that? Netanyahu's not letting them in. And the earth-moving equipment is an attempt at the Hamas in Gaza to say, look, we're clearing the debris out. There's no reason to evacuate us, you know. You see, them saying take the Israelites out of the land and put them in Alaska and Greenland is their way of saying this is our land. It's not God's people. It's Muhammad's people. And Jehovah is not liking that, I can tell you for sure. That went against them in a big way. Okay? That's the year of recompenses over the controversy of Zion, and that is exactly what this is. This is our land, not Israel's. So don't be surprised if things click up a notch or two or three or four or five, okay? And Iran is definitely working to infuriate Trump along with Hamas. Trump's trying to work out some sort of a written piece of paper treaty with Iran on nuclear stuff, and they're just increasing it. Is it a negotiating ploy? Maybe, but I don't think so. I think they just don't take Trump seriously at all. They don't think he'll do a thing. Now, what are they basing it on? I don't know. I don't know. Could be what the demons tell them. The demons don't care if their servants get killed. As long as they get to stay out of the pit, they're happy. Okay? Now, Hamas came up with another negotiating tool recently, I think the last day or two. They said, we agree, I think it was very recently, I think they said, we'll agree to not be the government in Gaza. But they want to stay there with the Arabs that live in Gaza. I don't call them Palestinians. I call them Arabs. The Palestinians was a term Yasser Arafat created, I believe, in the 80s. It's just not realistic. Okay. Before 1948, they were calling Israel Palestine, weren't they? Yes, they were. Okay. So it's a ruse. They're saying they're us or something like that. I don't know. Okay, so if you leave Gaza there and they're not the Hamas there and they're not the government, I would say within as little as a week to 2 or 3 months, they would have the government completely afraid of them, under their thumb, and controlling it completely, or they would kill the members of the government of Gaza and their families if they didn't listen to Hamas. So this is a joke. Netanyahu knows it. Trump knows it. The world probably doesn't know it. You know, what we could say is, yeah, fine, you could stay there and you won't be the government. No problem. But we're still going to evacuate the 2 million civilians out of there. Then what? Then you blow them up when they start launching missiles and shooting at you, which they will do. So I wouldn't pay attention to this. It's kind of not in the news. I had to pick it up from Muslim media. Well, I didn't have to, but that's where I found it. It didn't get into the news because this is going to hurt them for trying to do a crack like this. It's so stupid. Now in Lebanon, the Hezbollah and Lebanese army are shooting at each other. What this is based, they're actually shooting at each other. Now, what this is based on is Iran was sending passenger jets from Tehran to Beirut, Lebanon. And what our intel was telling us is they were loading the passengers up with cash. You know, in a suitcase, a backpack, a carry-on, whatever. But planes carry, you know, they could carry 200 people easily. I don't think Iran has any real big planes, but, and, you know, each of them could easily carry, you know, $100,000. That's child's play. So they were bringing cash in to pay Hezbollah. And Trump called them up in Lebanon and said, if that plane lands, Israel's going to bomb the Beirut airport, which means they have no airport. So they sent the Iranian jet back and the airport got closed. And Hezbollah is protesting because they want their money. And Trump doesn't want them to get their money. Of course, neither does Netanyahu. See, so let's stop and interject. If Israel went over there and destroyed all 5 of the Iranian nuclear facilities, demolished them, let's say somebody gave Israel a 500,000-pound bomb, which doesn't exist, and they bombed all of them and they obliterated them, they made holes 800 feet down in the ground, these nuclear facilities would have to start from scratch, right? Would that stop Iran? No. The only thing, you got to listen to this, that's going to stop Iran, there's a few things. One is the complete annihilation and destruction, which happens in Jeremiah 49. It's called Elam, and we're going to cover it again today because it's part of Assyria. We're going to go through the Bible prophecies on destruction of Assyria, not Syria, although Syria is in there. A little confusing. So that would work. Or you take out their oil refineries, their ports and piers and storage tanks that they use to offload the oil and natural gas into ships to deliver it around the world. If the flow of that stops, they're going to collapse. And they're not going to fund anybody. Not the Houthis, not Gaza, not Lebanon, nobody. Not Iraq. They ain't gonna fund. They're not even gonna fund themselves. You don't buy Iranian cars. Did you ever see a really cool sports car? You know, with 900 horsepower and it looks fantastic with great leather seats and all of this stuff, right? And it's called the Khomeini Express or something like. Yeah, you never saw it. What about an air conditioner, a refrigerator, a television, a wristwatch? Well, they don't have anything. They got oil and gas and war. It's a death cult. All right, there's no place in the next age for a bunch of maniacs like this. So if Israel just bombs their nuclear facilities, or America, or both of them, whatever, and you leave their energy intact, they're going to continue unless you put a blockade up in the Straits of Hormuz and you don't let any ship come and go out of Iran. It looks like it can be used to transport oil or natural gas. And that's a big job, long, drawn out, expensive, risky. It could happen. Iran knows they're doomed, and they would try to attack the ships doing the blockade in the Straits of Hormuz, and that would be messy. Or if they were afraid to do that, they would attack the oil-producing countries that are friendly to America that they could access, which is Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, you know, and the Houthis would help Iran. So that's a plan that may possibly go into effect, quite possibly, and cause the destruction of Yemen, which is Edom in Jeremiah 49, and Iran. And we're going to cover Assyria, which is going to be more comprehensive, and we'll get there in a little while. Funny story, the Washington, D.C. housing prices in 1 week, 7 days, dropped 36.5%. Okay? So let's say there was a $300,000 condominium. I don't think you'd get a house for that money in D.C. It went down to about 200,000, just as a rough cut. But this is just the beginning. Wait another 3 weeks and the prices will be down 50%. They may go down to 75%, because Trump's not on a massive hiring campaign. So a massive amount of these federal workers have been laid off, and they're leaving. They don't have any, a lot of them took early retirement. What do they want to stay in D.C. for? Not such great weather. It's usually 10 degrees warmer than New York City, because I lived in New York City and we had family back then that was in the D.C. area in Maryland, right near D.C., which was all packed full of federal employees. Okay, so, you know, a lot of these guys have been there, 12 years, 18 years, 25 years, and they're, clocking in at 90, 100, 120, 140,000, stuff like that, right? Really, with benefits. So they had, they bought themselves expensive houses because the prices were very high in DC, because probably for 25, 30 years, these people were making good money there. And now it's over. So I wouldn't be shocked if prophetic time allowed for it to go down. I would say at least 60%, And a lot of these people had equity in their houses, okay? Because they owned them free and clear, because they worked there so many years, or almost. So they might have bought a house. This is the way it would look. Let's say they bought a house in 1992 when they started working there maybe in 90 or something like that, right? Well, let's be a little more, let's say 1998. They might have paid, for their house or their condo, they might have paid $200,000 and it'd be worth $450 now. So out of the 200,000, they might owe $70,000, $80,000. So they're just going to cash out whatever they could get. They're going to get. They're not that stupid, and they realize that the prices would likely never go up anytime soon, and get worse because Trump's laying off more and more federal employees, and he has no intentions of hiring new ones. So the people put their houses on the market, and maybe today there's 5% or 10% of the amount of people looking for a house in DC as there were, let's say, 4 months ago or 3 months ago or something, right? So there are some buyers out there, but the brokers are going to go, whatever brokers don't quit their jobs or get fired, or if they work on their own, decide to stop, whatever, the broker, oh, you need a house, okay, well, the prices are dropping, let's see what we could find you. And the broker's going to try to find them a really low-priced house because they'll make a quick sale and get a commission. So they put the house on the market, and then nothing happens. After a month or two, they got to make the mortgage payments and the insurance payment and the property tax. Then they say drop it 10%, drop it another 10%, another 10%, until they get rid of the house. At some point, if you make the houses cheap enough, investors will buy them, counting on a resurgence of the economy there. Now, the economy in DC is liable to start dropping as more and more layoffs come to pass. Because, the dry cleaners aren't going to be getting the volume anymore. The stores that sell the work clothes aren't going to get the volume. The food outlets, the supermarkets, fast food restaurants, they're not going to get the volume. Everything's going to start getting bad. It's not going to be a poverty situation or something like that, but it's just going to shrink because there aren't enough people making nice, good money to support these small businesses and the not so small businesses. My understanding is rather costly to live in DC. I don't think it's like New York or that kind of thing, but maybe it is. I don't know. So, nobody's interested in keeping Hamas in charge of Gaza. The UAE came out and said the only choice is to evacuate the Arabs out, what they call them, Palestinians, out of Gaza. But who's listening to him? So the fighting in Hezbollah seems to be pronounced over this denying the Iranian plane the payroll for Hezbollah, apparently. And the Lebanese government is, they had a war with us in 2006, and they were, battle-tuned and tested. But those guys are, that are around from the 2006 war, if they're still in them, you're talking 20 years ago. So they're, if they're still in the army, they're probably, the colonels, the majors, the generals, the older guys. Those are not the ones that go out and shoot and get shot or get threatened with bombs and all that. The younger ones are not battle tuned or tested, and I don't think they're going to go up against Hezbollah. I think they're scared. It's a cowardly, ineffective army. They just like to get their paychecks, walk around with their stiffly starched uniforms if they're officers. Nonsense. Why were they shooting Hezbollah? Hezbollah started shooting at them. I doubt they started it. They arrested a lot of protesters that were closing streets and harming UN troops, which are also punks and do nothing. So, does it have the potential for Hezbollah to overthrow and take over Lebanon? I don't think so. There's not that many of them. I doubt it. Could happen. More likely than a takeover would be just a long, drawn-out fight. The Hezbollah are terrorists, and they would snipe at the army, improvise explosive devices, sabotage equipment, go after their families, take them hostage, kill them, rape them, throw them off cliffs, off roofs. The stuff they do. I'm going to take a quick break. You can ask me questions if you want. Put them up in the chat or email them. My email address is at the top of the chat. Let me tell you what I think Trump is going to tell Netanyahu about Gaza. But let me look at the chat first, which is quick. See if I have questions. I don't know what you're putting in here. Judas began Phares and Zara. Oh, anyway, I don't know where you're getting the. Anyway, I don't care. All right, I don't know what you're trying to make a point, but I don't get it. I see what your point was. I don't know much about Zara. Okay. All right, you're making a big deal out of Matthew 1:3. Let's go there and see what's going on. It's not exactly on my agenda today, but I'll give it some quick attention. And Aram begat Aramata, and begat Solomon. Oh, I was in 1:4. No, it doesn't mean that it's that important per se. It's just showing you the lineage. Not every one of these people was a great man. Like Jesse, the father of David, wasn't any, he was just a good guy, and it comes up that Yeshua is derived from Jesse, which means David. I wouldn't get too concerned on that. Someone put up Isaiah 9:6. Okay. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Okay, well, we believe in the Old and the New Testament here, so we certainly are with you there. I think we got this covered. Okay, so the way the conversation is going to go, and I'm sure they've already had it, is look, you've got Hamas at their weakest. You know they're going to start up again. If they start up again, we're your ally. Then along comes America with another, $250 billion of military aid for you to knock them out again. Then you're going to lose soldiers. Your buildings will get hit. What do you need this for? Get rid of them. They have no interest in repenting. It's not like Ukraine and Russia where you could have a sane conversation with them and make a sane deal that might last. These are maniacs. Okay? They're death cult people. You can't do it. So he's going to tell Netanyahu, you got to get rid of them. And I'll take the responsibility for repairing the place, getting them out of there, reestablishing the people someplace else, and I'll have my multi-trillion-dollar, 25-mile long by 6-mile wide resort haven to me and my families and friends can make billions of dollars off of. And it keeps Israel from re-inhabiting Gaza, which of course is Isaiah 34 verse 8. It's the year of recompenses, the day of vengeance over the controversy of Zion. And controversy means fighting. They're fighting with God. So this little slick plan of Trump's is never going to come to pass. And it also keeps Israel out of Gaza. So Trump makes his master, the demons and Satan, happy. But it's never going to happen. Okay, so leaving them there is equally as stupid. Okay? Because it's just going to rise up again. The nations that are under Satan, which is every nation in the world right now, because he's the God of this age and the age isn't over yet, they like coming to the aid of Israel, because it's a fake Israel. And I'm talking about the ones that are on the side of the Hur. The beast wants to get rid of Israel. Okay. And that's your Revelation 17. But they want to keep supporting fake Israel so that it doesn't ever become a real Israel. So if they don't help Israel with these nations and the nations swarm in and destroy Israel, they're afraid God may step forward and stop it. In the past, he stopped all the wars against Israel. He gave Israel, a good victory against massive, overwhelming odds. And they don't like that. Now, Trump, as the United States, has never fought shoulder to shoulder with Israel since 48. They just give them stuff like weapons, okay, and money. They don't do the fighting with Israel. Who does? Nobody. Why'd they attack the Houthis? The Houthis were attacking their ships. The UK did it too. They're protecting their own, avenues of transport in the Red Sea. If Israel gives the Hamas the mobile homes, what they should do is put transponders in them so they could just easily direct missiles and blow them up when the time comes. But I don't think they want to give any comfort to Hamas. So that's what Trump's going to say. And Netanyahu's going to say probably agree with him. So what Netanyahu's going to then say is, well, I got to get these hostages back. There's so much pressure on me, my gosh. So he got 3 back Saturday. Now he's going to try to put the pressure on them. I think the ceasefire is over March 1 or the 2nd of March. So he's going to put, I think Ramadan starts the 28th of February, and that's a dangerous holiday. They rise up a lot. And it's a month-long holiday, and that likely is going to, as far as it's going to take a wild guess, that could be when things light up in the Middle East, because that's always a very dangerous month. It's rare there's nothing flaring up. It's sometimes nothing, but many times it does flare up. So, China makes it illegal to celebrate Ramadan for that reason. So Netanyahu is probably going to start grinding on Hamas with the 6 hostages, and then if they say no, Netanyahu is going to say, well, we don't want to futz around with these people. They'll keep the hostages for decades. They'll grow old there, and then it'll start. I don't know exactly how. It may already be worked out. I think Netanyahu and Trump were hoping the weapons would be here before Saturday. And then I think Saturday at high noon we may have had a different meeting. Now, I read you the scriptures about that noon in the noonday. I'll read them again today. And I told you when I said that it could be this last Saturday or it could be another Saturday because this thing runs till March 1st. Not a Saturday, I'm sorry, high noon. The deadline for releasing the hostages to Israel seems to fall on noon on Saturdays. Okay? And then I believe at 4 p.m. Israel releases their terrorist prisoners. The only benefit of releasing those terrorist prisoners is Israel can save money on feeding them and maintaining them and medical and all that stuff, but they're going to bounce back and fight against Israel. And it was, I don't see the logic why they did this. Netanyahu is not that stupid. I don't know what he was doing. He's got hidden agendas all over the place, this character. So I think that Netanyahu will start by hitting other tunnels we know Gaza has now. And look, it appears to me Gaza's going to kill the hostages, but they're not going to kill them all because they got nothing left. And the dead bodies of Israelis are not a lot to bargain with at all. That's minimal value. The Israeli people they did a survey, a poll, and they got 61% of Israelis say they would rather see Israel go through with phase 2 to get more hostages back. That's a full withdrawal from Gaza. Now, first of all, this poll was 600 people out of Israel's 10 million. So it's garbage. You can forget about it. I don't think there's that many people in Israel that are dumb enough to let Israel withdraw from Gaza. I mean, Israel's not withdrawing from Lebanon. We're keeping 5 military posts in the south near our border for a long time. A long time to come. Otherwise, we'll have the same garbage happen. So, Netanyahu and Trump are going to work together, find a good alibi to attack them, or they'll attack us. They might get insulted at us and launch another rocket at us, and then Netanyahu throws back 60 bombs. Something like that. But they still have tunnels they're traveling in and functioning in and staying in, and that needs to go. It's not going to come to pass that there'll be an evacuation of the Gazans. That ain't going to happen. All right, we'll cover the prophecies in a bit. So, with Hezbollah in Lebanon, we keep striking places and terrorists in Lebanon constantly. Never stopped during the whole ceasefire. So, that can and probably will keep continuing. Syria is laying dormant, although they were fighting Hezbollah recently. I think that calmed down. They were shooting across the border from Syria into Lebanon, but they seem to be trying to get a good grip on their government and calm things down in the country, but they're still persecuting the Alawite Muslims and those that were in the Bashar Assad regime. They haven't stopped doing that. Iran has infuriated Trump, and Trump will need to deal with that, I'm sure. Now, the Houthis will enter into the fight if Israel's in the fight with Lebanon, the Hezbollah up there, or with Hamas in Gaza, or with Iran. Okay, so let me take a quick look at the social media. I got a big stack of them I use here. It'll go quick though, because things are so wild right now. Let me see if anything else popped up real quick. let's see. We're being told that 1,800 of these 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs are now in Israel's hands, stashed safely at military bases in Israel. That's a massive amount. So whatever tunnels they have left in Gaza could be devastated. These things are not really very effective on the Iranian nuclear sites, by the way, but they would be effective on regular military targets, airports, regular ammo dumps, missile, rocket, and drone factories, stuff like that. I got a prayer request coming in for GH, Golf Hotel, GH, Golf Hotel, GH, a mourner's prayer. So they lost somebody or a pet or something. So I don't know what it was. Probably a person. So a mourner's prayer for peace, comfort, joy for GH, Golf Hotel. Not to joy in the death, but to joy in the Lord. I'm not picking up anything. Let me go through Jeremiah 30:11 and just give you a thought I have. I can't say for sure. I think I'm right about this. Let me say that to you. I'm pretty sure. This has been nagging me for a while. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, all the heathen nations, whither I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Okay, so Israel is still being punished somewhat. Okay? With all this pressure on us, all the economic problems, lack of tourism, people getting killed in the war, hostages, and all that. But it's not the same type of punishment that the nations are going to get. God stopped up the ears of the Israelites and blinded their eyes. And that goes on until the veil comes off, which is the appearing of Yeshua in the clouds, seated on the right hand of power, coming like lightning from the east to the west. Revelation 1:7, every eye shall see him. This is not the return to earth. That's in Revelation 19, and it's rather different. Okay, so moving along. So Israel's punishment is going to be there because they're doing things they know is wrong. But let's talk about the believers in Yeshua scattered around the world for a minute. Are they getting punished also? Well, if you're a believer in Yeshua, you're in Israel, the real true Israel that's not around, that's a functioning nation yet, per se, but it will be shortly. And therefore, when you're having rough times in these days, he could be meting out the punishment to you for the things you've done over many, many years. I'm just giving you as a theory. That's why things may have been rough on you in recent times, going back I don't know how long. And because when you hit redemption, they're not going to be that way for you. So it could be that we're not going to go unpunished either. He's not going to respect us and elevate us to a non-punishment status when we're Israel also. And that could be why some of us are going through bad times. I think probably most, if not all of us are. It's very hard for us right now. Okay, I got that one out. I didn't want to deliver that for a long time, but it's out. All right, Zephaniah 2. And I believe we're talking about Gaza here, so let's get into it. Not Zechariah, Zephaniah 2. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O Goyim, not desired. Let's check that word for desired. Kasaf. To pine, become pale. That is by implication to pine. Let's look up Webster on pine. That's not a word I usually use. Not sure what it really means. I prefer to go for the 1823 Webster, which brings us a lot closer to what the words meant when the King James was written. Okay. It's the 1828 Webster. I think there's an 1820. Maybe it's just one, the 1828. All right. Oh, okay. To pine away. Yeah. No, I got it. It means to wear away. Okay. And that's a pretty good description of Gaza. So, oh, heathen, wearing away, or it says not, lo. Huh? Let's read this again. Something's still not right. Oh, it could just mean longed for, not wanted, I guess. You know, I think they got it right when it said not desired. Yeah. All right, verse 2. Before the decree, bring forth before the day pass, as the chaff before the fierce anger of Jehovah come upon you. That be the day of vengeance. Before the day of Jehovah's anger come upon you. Seek you, Jehovah, all you meek of the land or the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek mercy, seek meekness, that it might be. And then it says, it may be you shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. That's the day of vengeance, I believe, here, and other days after that, like the great day of the Lord. Now, the word for hid, interesting word. It's Strong's number 5641 in the Hebrew. It's sitar, and the meaning of the word is to hide, which is what they're saying, hid, or figuratively, it could also mean be absent. So you won't be there, or you'll be hidden. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be up in heaven, as some of these crackpots will want to teach you. Okay. When for Gaza, and that should say Gaza, Atzah, Azah. Wait a minute. Atzah. Yeah, it's Atzah. That's Gaza. Atzah. But we just say Gaza. Shall be forsaken, and Ashkelon a desolation. Let's see what they're using for Ashkelon. Ashkelon. Yeah, Ashkelon. That's Ashkelon. A desolation. Now, there is a city Ashkelon in Israel right by North Gaza, but as I've told you in the past, there was a city Ashkelon in the Palestinian area, the Gaza, let's say Gaza. So I think that's talking about North Gaza. There was probably a place called Ashkelon there, but it would be pertaining to North Gaza, I believe. A desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod. That's another city near Ashkelon. Same thing. At the noonday. So drive out. Let's check that word. Um, expel, drive out. They got it right, I guess. Drive out Ashdod at the noonday. And the word for noonday is Sar, noon. So they added in the word day. It doesn't say day, it just says noon. Ashdod, it doesn't say at the noonday. There's 4 words. There's one word in Hebrew which just means noon, like 12 o'clock noon. High noon in the westerns in the 50s, in the 40s, when they would meet in the street and draw down on each other, And Ekron shall be rooted up. Woe, another city there. Woe unto the inhabitants of the sea. It doesn't say of the sea. The word for woe is 1945 in Strong's. It's like okay. Unto the inhabitants is it means like sit, like Chev. Wait a minute. So it's saying and then it's saying sit. They're telling you it says to the inhabitants. Yeshab. It could mean dwell. So it's saying woe, dwell. I believe this says yam, which means sea. So those yell. Okay, so it's saying those that dwell by the sea coast. That's Gaza. Give me a break for a second, guys. I'll be right back. woe unto the sea coast and Havel. That means like a territory or. They just, it's really saying like the sea territory, and they said coast. See, this thing, all these English translations are a whole lot more like the Living Bible, which is a story about the Bible, and they try to translate it, and at the same time, they put their own interpretations in of what they want you to believe, every English translation. The nation that's saying, really, the heathen nation of the Chetherites, the word of Jehovah is against you, O Canaan, the land of the Philistines. Got it? I will even destroy. So they got 4 words there, and there's one word in Hebrew about perish or vanish. So it doesn't. It says perish. Okay, now it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 words. That there shall be no. Okay, so what is it really saying? From north. So it's saying north inhabitants, and the word for inhabitants, those dwelling there. So it says nobody's going to be dwelling there. And what do they say? There shall be no. Yeah, it's okay. And the sea coast, that's Yam, the territory by the sea, which, the same sea coast, shall be dwellings and cottages for shepherds and folds for flocks. Now people saying, oh, they're going to be at peace with us. Keep reading. And the coast, which would be like this district or territory, shall be the remnant, shall be, let's see what they're getting here, and they're not getting be or become would be what I would say. For the remnant, sharit, remnant of the Beit house Judah. Now, it doesn't say house of Israel, so the 10 tribes are not back yet when this happens. It comes soon, and we'll be in there. They shall feed there upon in the house of houses, okay, by team it would be, I guess. Ashkelon, shall they lie down in the evening? Let's check that lie down thing. Yeah, I could say it could be lie down. In the evening, Erev, works. For Jehovah Elohim shall visit them and turn away their captivity. The appearing of the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds. The moon will be dark, the sun will be dark, the moon will turn to blood. Beginning of the year of redemption. And the 10 tribes and all you believers in Yeshua haven't gotten back here yet. So this could actually happen before redemption. Yeah, I think it would. Or maybe, and then it says, shall visit. See, it's projecting into the future, saying that Elohim shall visit. Let's see if we can break this down. Pakad. Is that really a visit or help or pay attention or something? Let's see. Yeah, it's okay that way. It's not perfect, but Hebrew doesn't go into English very good. And then it says them and turn away. 4 words. Let's see what it really says. Shub, return. See, it doesn't say turn away. It's saying return, as in come back. Let's say return captivity. It's stupid the way they did this and turn away their captivity. You don't know what that means. Return them from captivity, as in the next great exodus. That's what it's saying. You can't translate the Bible if you don't have correct doctrine. You don't know what's going on. I have heard the reproach of Moab, that's middle and south Jordan, and the reviling of the children of Ammon, that's North Jordan, whereby they have reproached my people. And what does reproached mean in reality? Sort of like insulting or sound them down, maybe. Like insult them. Like the other day, the King of Jordan said, if they try to bring the Gazans into Jordan, we'll declare war on Israel, that kind of thing. Look how tough and strong I am. I got the oil. You know, I'm going to go get you if you push me, you know. That kind of thing. My reproach to what he refers to as people, they say my people, yeah, the people, I think they're doing okay here. And magnified themselves against their border, against Israel's border. Well, they have lots of soldiers on our border. Therefore, as I live, saith Jehovah of hosts, the Elohim Yisrael. See, it always says God of Israel, God of Israel. Where does it say God of the churches? Oh, you're Israel now. Oh, gee, what do we call that? Replacement theology. Surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits, and a perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them. The residue, the remnant of his people shall spoil them. And the remnant of my people shall possess them. Hip hip hooray for Jehovah. This shall they have for their pride. Pride cometh before a fall. Because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of Jehovah of armies. See, they're saying, well, we got Allah and we got Muhammad, we're greater. You know, well, it ain't going to go well for them. Jehovah will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth or the land, and then shall, and will they add in, and men shall worship him, and it's basically saying shechat, no shechat, shechat, uh, worship is a good word for that. It's saying the earth or the land, it's the same word, ha'eretz, worship everyone from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. I think that's North, South, Central America, and the Caribbean. You Ethiopians also shall be slain by my sword. Puts them in there. And he will stretch out his hand again. Remember, the Ethiopians are doomed there. He will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria. Now, we're going to get into who Assyria is right away. It is north of Israel, and will make Nineveh, that's in Iraq, which is in Assyria, a desolation and dry like a wilderness. And flocks shall lie down in the midst of. Okay, let's go back. Assyria. What is it? Assyria was a great empire of antiquity that extended through the territory that today are the following countries: Syria, Lebanon, Turkey, Iraq, and Iran. So when Jeremiah 49 says Elam is going to be completely wiped out, and some historians say it includes Iraq and Syria, we can, based on this scripture, say maybe it's not all in Elam, but it's all going to go in very, very, very close timing proximity. So you're going to see a wipeout, courtesy of our Heavenly Father Jehovah and his Son Yeshua HaMashiach, predominantly being done by Jehovah, because he said, Psalm 110:1, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. So Jehovah's really doing this. So it's Syria gone, Lebanon gone, Turkey gone, Iraq, and Iran. We know Edom is going, we know Iran's going, and we know Gaza. So basically that brings us to redemption. All right, keep going. And will be in Zephaniah 2:14, and flocks shall lie down in the midst of her. The beasts of the heathen nations, or the heathen, both the cormorant and the bittern shall lodge in the upper lintels. I think that means they'll stay up in the attic or the upper floors of the house or something like that. Or what is the lintel? Supports, I think. The overhang of the roof, I think, is the lintel. It's something to do with the upper part of the house. I think it's the overhang, because under the, but anyway. The upper lintels of it, their voice shall sing in the windows, So the animals will be living in the houses left there. Desolation shall be in the thresholds, for he shall uncover this cedar work. See, I think that a lot of these lands given to us in Genesis 15 are going to be wasteland, and we're going to live in the concentrated area of Israel like the tribes used to, like, going back many centuries, okay? Because the rest of it's going to be busted up, a lot of it anyway. This is the rejoicing city that dwelleth carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside. Now he's talking about the daughter of Babylon, which is America, which is a little confusing, but maybe the same thing happens to them. How is she come a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down in? Every one that passes by shall hiss and wag his hand. Maybe it means these other countries, all of them get destroyed like the daughter of Babylon, because that's how Jehovah does it. That's a more likely understanding of this. Okay, now we'll jump into Isaiah 10. Woe unto them that decree unrighteousness, decrees and that write grievousness when they have prescribed, which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless, orphans. And what will you do in the day of visitation? And in the desolation which shall come from far, to whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Without me they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. O Assyrian, who's bothering Israel? Assyria and others, Edom and Iran, they all get it. O Assyria, the rod of thine anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation, his anger. I will send him against. See, he used them as the rod of his anger to punish Israel, but they went too far. We read that in Zechariah 1, or is it Zechariah 2? It says, I was punishing Israel, but they expanded the punishment. I was just a little angry, and they took it too far. So he's extremely angry at the heathen, and he's going to give it to them like they never heard of. That's scripture says that. I will send him against a hypocritical nation, and against that could be United States is a hypocritical nation for sure. Let's check hypocritical to see if they got it right. Yeah, it's like a sinful nation, Trump says he's a man of God, and then he turns around and said, I never asked for forgiveness, I never did anything wrong, stuff like this. Has a Muslim mullah perform a blessing at his inauguration, yet he's a Christian, right? I will send him against the hypocritical nation and against the people of my wrath. Will I give, so he's sending this hypocritical nation, which I guess is America as a guess, against the people of my wrath. Well, that's Assyria. See how it comes together? And against the people of my, and give him a charge. Let's check that word. It's a directive, a commandment. Give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Maybe where? And against the people of my wrath. Let's check the word for against. Upon, not against. Goyim. Hypocritical nation is Goyim. I don't think he means Israel. Okay. Howbeit he meaneth not so, neither doth his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off heathen nations, not a few. Well, that's Jeremiah 30:11, isn't it? Not a few. You know, all the nations he scattered the Israelites into over the centuries. Let me jump into the chat and make sure I don't have any Weisenheimers there cursing and stuff like that in there. Or questions in the chat. Okay, get back into it. Isaiah 10, I think I'm around verse 7. I'm in verse 8, Isaiah 10:8. For he saith, are not my princes altogether kings? Is not Cano as this must be old names. As not Hamat or Pod, is not Samaria as Damascus, Samaria, that's in the West Bank. As my hand hath found the kingdom of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria, shall not as I have done unto Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols. Wherefore it shall come to pass that when Adonai hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks. Oh, you know, Mussolini had the stout look down cold, you know. No, stick his jaw out like that. For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man, I guess. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved. The wing of open, what? Wait. The earth, and there was none that moved the wing, or one opened the mouth, or peeped. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as the staff should lift itself up as if it was no wood. Therefore shall, he's talking about how the people treat God. Therefore shall the clay tell the potter, I made myself, something like that, right? Therefore shall Adonai Yehovah of armies or hosts send among his fat ones leanness. That's the rich Satan bots, I guess, I'm thinking. And under his glory shall kindle a burning like the burning of a fire. That's the glory of God of Israel. That was in the wilderness with Moses and Aaron, and he was like a fire by night to keep them warm, and a cloud by day to keep the sun off them. And the light of Israel shall be for, I think he put the fire in the cloud there, actually not that he was it. I think that's how it would work. And the light of Israel shall be for a fire. No, it's for a light. What are they putting here? It says it's or. It doesn't. I said, why'd they say that? And it's saying, and the light, Yisrael, or Yisrael, light of Israel, arise, shine, your light has come. Isaiah 60, verse 1. Shall be for a light, and his Holy One. Doesn't say Holy One. It says Kadosh is holy. It doesn't say and his Holy One. It says holy for a flame. Yeah, flame I'll go with. And it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars. Those are the prickling thorns that keep poking Israel, the country surrounding it, Assyria. In one day, that's the day of vengeance, which is the end of the year of recompenses and the beginning of the year of redemption. It's an overlapping day because it's in both of those years. And I know the churches don't teach this, but ask yourself why they don't. Isaiah 34:8, Isaiah 61, the first 3 or 4 verses, Isaiah 63, around verse 3 or 4. Why they don't teach this? You tell me. And shall consume the glory of his forest and of his fruitful field, both soul and body, and they shall be as when a standard bearer fainteth. And the rest of the trees of his forest shall be few, that a child may write them. Well, not that many. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped. Okay, so they got 5 words for one word, and then one word is pelatar, which means delivered. So it's just really saying remnant Israel delivered, Beit Yaakov, house of Yaakov. It's the 12 tribes now he's talking about. Shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. In other words, he's not going to rest upon America or these other countries, okay? But shall stay upon Jehovah Chadosh Yisrael in, should say Behemoth, it does, in truth. The remnant shall return, next great Exodus, even the remnant of Yaakov, unto the mighty God. And the word is El, not Elohim. It's in the singular, so it's meaning Jehovah. Gabor. Yeah, mighty. It's okay for that. For though thy people, Yisrael, people of Israel, be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. I'm in Isaiah 10:23. For Adonai Yehovah of hosts, or armies, say it either way, shall make a consumption even determined in the midst of the land. Therefore, thus saith Adonai Yehovah of hosts, O my people that dwelleth in Sion and Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrian. He shall smite thee with a rod. Well, Iran, Iraq, Syria, they all shot at us and stuff, right? Lebanon and all. Smite thee with a rod. Then what's the word for rod? 7620. Oh, it's Shabbat. It could be a it doesn't have to be just a rod. It could be a branch, a staff of wood, right? A dart, a scepter, you know. All right, so it's a rod or a scepter or a staff, you know, weapon. And shall lift up his staff. That's a different word. That's right. Yeah, it's just, let's call it a staff. Against thee after the manner of Egypt. So, you know, it's not going to say they shall fire, you know, guided missiles at you and use UAV drones that are suicide. You know, it's using the lingo of war of these days when it was given and written. For yet a very little while, and the indignation, the anger shall cease, and my anger in their destruction. Well, that's not good for them. And Jehovah of armies shall stir up a scourge. scourge, 7752. Could be a whip or a scourge for him, according to the slaughter of Midian and the rock of Oreb, and as his now I'm in verse 27. And it shall come to pass in that day, that sounds like the Zechariah 12, that day to me, that his burden shall be taken away from off thy shoulder. That's the breaking of the yoke that the nations, and there's also an internal yoke from the government of Israel, the rabbis and so forth, taken away from off thy shoulder, and his yoke from off thy neck. And the yoke shall be destroyed because of the anointing. It says Yitzhar, the oil. I'm sorry, Shemin. Shemin, oil, which signifies an anointing. Could this be referencing the two olive trees? Work with me. Bringing the oil into the seven candlesticks, which are the congregations of the Lord. So this is when this happens, when Elijah and Apostle John start working. Sure sounds like it. Shemin is oil. Usually means olive oil. I suppose you could apply shemin to another kind of oil, or, I don't know, if you were dripping oil out of your car, you might say, Shama there, shemin, you oil. I guess you would, I don't know. Certainly don't put olive oil in your car. Once I tried lubricating a Glock pistol. I ran out of gun oil and I said, well, let me put some olive oil on it. Boy, was that a mistake. You got all kinds of sticky and stuff. Not a good idea. He is come to Aith. He is passed to Migron at Michmas. He has laid up his carriages. They are gone over the passage. They have taken up their lodging in Geba, Ramah. Ramah is afraid. Geba of Saul is fled. I lift up thy voice, O daughter of Galilee. Cause it to be heard. What the heck is Galilee? It's north of Jerusalem, I believe, in Israel. Because it to be heard unto Leah shall pour antidote. Menab is removed. The inhabitants of Gebim gather themselves to flee. As yet shall he remain at Nob that day. He shall shake his hand against the mount of the daughter of Zion, the hill of Jerusalem. Is that the Mount of Olives? Behold, Adonai Jehovah of hosts shall lop the bow with terror, and the high ones of stature shall be hewn down, and the haughty shall be humbled. I think this is the 2/3 getting cut off. It's looking that way. And he shall cut down the thickets of the forest, with iron, and no, he's talking about Lebanon. I think he's talking about the foreign countries here. Thickets through the forest with iron, and Lebanon shall fall by a mighty one. Now, who do you think the mighty one might be? Wait a minute. This could be a false translation. No. It would mean, I would say it's either Apostle John or Elijah. With the fire coming out of their mouths, that would make them mighty, I believe. All right, let's see what's cooking in Chatland here. Let's see if we're got a good chat going. And we'll get started. Good live stream. Thinks we do. Come to he is. Yeah, we're good. See if anybody mailed in anything. Okay, well, I hope you guys got something out of it. So please pray for me and my wife Rivka. She could use more prayers. For our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing. Pray for our finances. Pray I get that document I'm waiting for in the mail. Keep praying for that. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray I get better videos. And I send my shalom to all. Shiach, and I'm out. Thanks.